Hey, thanks for joining us. You want to know how to invest in land by participating in sales auctions? Well, good news. We're here with Ted Thomas, who knows all about that because Ted is, of course, America's tax lien and deed authority. So, Ted, we're here to talk about how to invest in land and how to do it through tax auctions. And I know it's a pretty popular thing with your students. So, tell us why investing in land is such a positive thing.
Well, land, there's a lot of it. First of all, at tax auctions is wonderful. So I'm a tax lien and tax deed authority. So I spent years teaching people, look at the auction list. And if you looked at a long list of properties at an auction, you would find about 20 or 25% of all of those properties that are being auctioned for 10 and 20 cents on the dollar. And it could be raw land, they could be row crop land, they could be development land, there could be in an actual subdivision and be vacant residential lot. So there's lots of choices when it comes to land, especially in the tax defaulted business.
Well, like you talked about, a lot of people think about the tax defaulted and, buying land and property for back taxes and they're thinking about the houses and flipping the houses. But we're talking just land here. So, is buying land a good investment?
It's definitely a good investment. If you go to tax auctions, you're going to find out that what the treasurer does, if the landowner doesn't pay the tax, the treasurer is going to confiscate the property. They're going to take the property away from that property owner. The property owner basically forfeits their property to the county. Then the county is going to have a public auction. You find out about those on the county website or in the newspaper, and they're going to sell that property with a starting bid of 10 cents on the dollar. So if you can buy land for 10 cents on the dollar, it wouldn't matter what kind of land it was. If you buy it for 10 cents on the dollar, could you sell it for 20 or 30 cents on the dollar? I think so.
So to be really clear, Ted, then there are tax auctions just for land, right?
No, they're not. No, they don't have just for land. They have tax auctions. Every county in the United States, there's over 3,000 plus counties, they all sell tax defaulted property. So part of the tax defaulted property business could be land, it could be homes, it could be commercial buildings, but about 20 or 25% of most auctions, from my experience of 30 years, is residential or some kind of land. Now, I don't know what kind it's going to be. It might be row crops. It might be orchards. It might be land that's good for development. I don't know what it is, but I teach my students, look, when you're looking, don't pass up. Don't just buy houses like everybody else, like you learned on TV or learned on the internet. Let's be a little bit contrarian. Let's look at the land. What if the land happened to be a residential lot in a nice subdivision? Well, that would have a lot of value for a lot of people. For example, fixer-upper people would like to buy that kind of land. Developers would like, small home builders would like that. What if we can buy that for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar? So you see, there's a lot of different kinds of land, but they don't just have, they could have land auctions in the retail market, but when it comes to tax defaulted property, we're just part of the mix of what's happening in that county at that particular auction.
So if I'm at one of these auctions, Ted, I hear you. I mean, it's like if I can get this land for so cheap, why not? It's wonderful. And then, turn it over to somebody who wants to develop it or build on it. But why aren't the developers and builders right there at the auction with me?
Well, I'm out at the auction there with you, but I don't know that they're there. I mean, I go dressed like I am now, or I'm buying it online. So I don't think someone walks in says developer on their shirt or their hat. I don't know who's there buying it. So yes, they could. And if they know that those properties for sale, they might bid them up. I teach my students, try to buy 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar. Okay. So every property will have a tax assessed value, even though they're selling it at auction. But the treasurer, when they want to sell that property, they discount that property from tax assessed value by 60, 70, and 80%. What if the tax assessed value is here and you could buy it for 80% less than that? We'd want to be at tax auctions all the time.
Yeah. Well, all right. Another good question coming off that, Ted, is where do you find the tax auctions? How does one get to know where they're happening?
Okay. Tax auctions are easy to find. Every county in the United States will have at least one auction each year. All right. So they'll advertise that on the county website and they'll advertise that in the newspaper. So there's always going to be auction. Now, if you didn't find out about yours, you can use my auction calendar. I have an interactive map and auction calendar. I'll even give you a free auction list if you want. All right. And on the interactive map, you can do it electronically. You can move the cursor around. You can go from state to state, county to county. You can find out how many auctions in the state. And if you go to that state, you can go to whichever auction, whichever county site you want. And when you get to that county site, then you can look up and see the value of that property. And then you can decide, well, if that property is coming up for auction for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar, and you read the value, what more do you need? And you've got that. Now go look at the property and make sure you had boots on the ground. It's not a toxic waste dump or something like that. So auctions are available, and we're in the business of educating people. So we have all kinds of tools, by that I mean like an interactive map that will really help people out.
Well, hey, speaking of this interactive map, Ted, it sounds pretty like a really powerful tool and a great way to get going. If somebody's thinking about investing in auction land, tax auction land, can they give it a try right now if they're watching?
Yeah, if anybody is watching now and wants to see what it's like, there's a video that shows how the cursor moves around, goes state to state, shows how many auction properties, and it even shows how we take people to a county. We take them to any county in the United States. There's over 3,000 counties. They can do that sitting right on the rusty dusty in the living room or the kitchen, wherever they are, moving their cursor around. Nobody in the world has the ability to learn how to do that. We have instructional classes on that kind of thing.
Hey, use the link that's right below. Send us your email. You're going to get the information of where and when these auctions are happening. And while you're there, subscribe to Ted's channel and you get more information from Ted. So thanks for watching.